Matsuri Takahashi was a vivacious 24-year-old account manager at Japan's largest advertising agency. Like many of her colleagues, she considered herself lucky to have landed such a prestigious job. The work was interesting, the money was great, the opportunities limitless. On Christmas Day 2015, Matsuri carefully slid open the window of her Tokyo office and hurled herself 23 stories onto the sidewalk below. The coroner refused to call her death a suicide. Instead, he used a Japanese word, karoshi, which roughly translates as death from overwork. It turns out that in addition to her already long hours, Matsuri had been pressured to work 100 hours of overtime every month, and unsurprisingly was tired, and the tiredness took its toll. Following her death, major corporations around the world began to revisit their attitude to overwork. And ironically, this only served to reveal how twisted our culture had become. For example, the investment bank Goldman Sachs capped the number of hours that interns were allowed to work. The premise was good. They reasoned that a tired employee was an inefficient employee, and inefficient employees were not profitable. So to create a rested workspace, they limited the number of hours that interns could work to 17 a day. Interns could turn up at 7 in the morning, but they had to leave the office by midnight. It makes you wonder what was going on in the office before that rule. One of the most popular business leaders on YouTube is a man called Gary Vaynerchuk. Most of you will have heard of him. Many of you will follow him. Great guy. His simple message resonates with our busy, addicted culture. He basically says if you want to succeed in life, you need to work longer and harder than your competition. And so he'll frequently tell his followers that he's got no problem dropping an 18, 20, 22-hour day. Now, for me, this raises an awkward question. I mean, there you are, you've landed yourself a job at Goldman Sachs. That's impressive. There you are, you're running a, $100, $500 million company. That's impressive. But if you're working 17, 20, 22 hours a day, in what sense are you actually winning at life? And more importantly, if you've achieved so much with so little rest in your life, how much more could you achieve if you worked less and rested more? At one time or another, we've probably all said that we get more done if only we didn't have to sleep. If you were anything like me when you were a student, you probably experimented with pulling an all-nighter to eliminate the unproductive hours. No doubt you've certainly tried shaving an hour off your sleep either at night or in the morning so you could get more work done. The problem with this is that literally every piece of research on the subject says that rest and sleep are crucial factors in peak performance. So there was one experiment in which a group of NBA players were forced to sleep for 10 hours a night, and as a result, their three-point shooting average improved by 9%. What difference would a 9% increase make to what you do for a living? I think that one of the biggest mistakes we make is to underinvest in ourselves. You know on planes when they give you the "we're all about to die" speech, they always say that in the event of an emergency, put your own oxygen mask on before you try and help others. There's a reason for that. Because if you stop breathing, you're useless. And yet in life, we have no room to breathe because we give away pieces of ourselves to our partners, our kids, our parents, our clients, our customers, our boss, our staff, and all that's fine. But we keep nothing for ourselves. And we get more and more run down. And we end up like a squeezed lemon with no juice left to give. And then what? Listen, the best asset you have is yourself. And if you underinvest in yourself, you will sabotage your ability to make decisions that will directly contribute to your success. So remember the study made famous in Malcolm Gladwell's Outliers? The one that said you need 10,000 hours to get good at something. In that study, they looked at a group of highly successful violinists. So these were violinists who performed with the best orchestras at the highest level. And they found that every single one of them had clocked at least 10,000 hours of practice time And then the point was made that it takes 10,000 hours to get good at anything. Fair enough. But one of the lesser known facts about that same study was that it also revealed that those violinists got on average 8.6 hours of sleep every night, and every afternoon they napped for an average of 40 minutes. And yet in our economy, 1 out of every 3 Americans gets less than 6 hours of sleep a night. It's so bad that in 2013, the Centre for Disease Control said that sleep deprivation is actually a public health epidemic. In 2009, it was estimated that 250,000 traffic accidents were directly caused by tiredness, and it's also the leading cause of friendly fire deaths in combat zones. It was a major factor in Chernobyl, 3 Mile Island, and Exxon Valdez. And in addition to the loss of life, the economic impact of tiredness is massive. It's estimated to cost US businesses $150 billion a year in absences, accidents, and lost productivity. That's roughly the same revenue as Apple, by the way. We lose an apple a year because we're tired. Sleep and rest are what allow us to function at our highest level. There's a reason why Jeff Bezos, the CEO of Amazon, insists on getting 8 hours a night. There's a reason why Google have nap pods. There's a reason why Winston Churchill often didn't get out of bed until lunchtime. Imagine what it would do to your income if you weren't so tired all the time and could think clearly. Imagine if your employees and your colleagues came to work in the morning refreshed and energized and actually able to think. The science on this is pretty clear. You can, it seems, sleep your way to success.